I'm Delilah, and tonight, like most nights since arriving in Monte Carlo, I found myself sitting alone at a small cafe near the bustling casino square. It's a far cry from the extravagant life I was born into, but after graduating from a prestigious college in New York, I crave something simple, something real. My father owns what feels like half the world: luxury hotels, tech firms, you name it. Yet I chose to use my mother's last name, a way to keep my distance from the glare of his empire. The evening air was cooling when you walked in. Julian looked like he belonged here, moving with the kind of ease that only comes with a tailored suit that probably costs more than my monthly rent. Without asking, he pulled out the chair across from me and sat down. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, already making himself comfortable. I barely glanced up. "Looks like you're already sitting," I replied coolly. He laughed, smooth and practiced. "I'm Julian. And you are?" "Delilah?" I met his gaze for a moment, sizing him up. He was polished, a little too perfect for my usual taste, but undeniably attractive. "So, Delilah," he continued, leaning back, "what brings someone like you here? Alone?" "Just enjoying my coffee," I answered vaguely, not in the mood to share. "And you?" He shrugged, a glint of amusement in his eyes. "I could say business, but I'd be lying. Let's just say I'm here for something interesting, and it looks like I might found it." His gaze lingered, steady and confident. I raised an eyebrow. "Hope the coffee lives up to your expectations then." He smiled, not breaking eye contact. "Something tells me it already has." I wasn't here for a fling, and I didn't intend to entertain anyone's lines. Look, I'm not one of those girls who falls for charming strangers. If that's what you're after, you're wasting your time. Julian leaned back, an amused expression crossing his face. "Who says I'm playing a game?" "Experience," I said bluntly. "You sit down uninvited, drop a line. What, expect a number or a date?" He chuckled, genuinely this time. "You're tough. I like that. I'm not looking for a number, just a conversation. But if it's too much, just say the word and I'll disappear." I hesitated. Monte Carlo could be beautiful, but it was often lonely too. "Conversation's fine," I said, keeping it casual. To my surprise, talking with Julian was easy. He didn't try to impress me with wealth or connections. He was comfortable, and as the evening wore on, I found myself genuinely enjoying his company. Eventually, as the night began to wind down, I stood to leave. "Well, Julian," I said, "this was unexpectedly pleasant." He grinned, catching my surprise. "Surprised yourself, huh?" "Maybe just a little," I admitted. "Good night, Julian." "Good night, Delilah," he replied, his gaze lingering as I walked away. For the first time, the nights here didn't feel so solitary. In the following days, Julian seemed to appear wherever I was, as if drawn to the same places. Surprisingly, his persistence wasn't annoying. It was as if he truly enjoyed my company. One evening, he sat beside me on a quiet terrace overlooking the sea, bringing 3 coffees just in case he guessed wrong. "If I'm wrong, I'll drink both," he joked, handing me a cup. "Good guess," I replied with a smile. We settled into a comfortable rhythm, sharing stories about favorite movies, debating over the best James Bond, he swore by Daniel Craig, while I was a Sean Connery fan, and wandering through the local markets. Julian had a way of making me laugh, and each day Monte Carlo felt a little less like a stop on my journey and a little more like home. One afternoon, he suddenly turned serious. "Delilah, I know I'm just some guy you met at a cafe, but these past weeks have been, I don't know, different, better, because of you." I stopped, not sure how to respond. "Julian, I like spending time with you, I really do. But this is just a break for me. I'm not looking for complications." He nodded, his face softening. "No pressure. Just, no, I'm here, okay. I think you're pretty amazing." Days turned into weeks, and my time in Monte Carlo was nearing its end. Julian and I had drifted into late-night dinners and early morning walks, something I never anticipated under the Mediterranean stars. Then one evening, Julian surprised me. "Come back with me," he said, hope filling his voice. "There's a position at my company back in the States. I know it's sudden, but I just think it could be great." The idea was insane, completely out of character for me, yet part of me was tempted by the adventure, or the chance to see where this could lead. Just as I was considering the possibility, my father showed up unannounced, his laughter echoing through the room as he stepped into my space like he owned it. Well, Delilah, hiding out in plain sight, are we?" he chuckled, enveloping me in a hug that left me breathless. Tell me about this decision. This guy must be something special for you to consider moving like this. I sighed, feeling the weight of everything pressing down. His name's Julian, and he doesn't know about all of this. I gestured around me, acknowledging the opulence I'd spent my life trying to keep hidden from the people who mattered. My dad's expression turned serious. You can't keep that a secret forever, Delilah. If he's going to be part of your life, he deserves to know who you really are. I know, Dad, I replied quietly. I just want to be sure about him before I complicate things. He ruffled my hair, a playful gesture that made me feel like a kid again. Just remember, if you ever need anything, I'm only a call away. And don't forget, I've got eyes everywhere, he added with a wink. The next few weeks passed in a blur. Julian and I grew closer, though he sensed I was holding back. One evening, as we sat down to dinner, he looked at me, his gaze gentle but insistent. When do you think I'll get to meet your family? He asked. I feel like I'm missing a big part of you. My heart raced. I wasn't ready to reveal the truth, the tangled web of wealth and expectations that came with my last name. Well, my mom passed away years ago, and my dad, he's just a regular guy, I said, dodging the details. Julian reached for my hand. Whenever you're ready, I'd like to meet him. Family's important. For the first time, I began to wonder if maybe, just maybe, I was ready to share my world with him. Nodded, grateful for his understanding, even though I wasn't sure how I'd ever bridge the gap between Julian and my father. My dad's world was one I wasn't ready to introduce Julian to, not yet. As time went on, life with Julian flowed in ways I hadn't anticipated. We were blending our lives together effortlessly. My new job at his company was going smoothly, and our relationship was deepening every day. It felt like we were building towards something significant, though I didn't realize how big until the moment arrived. It was an ordinary evening in Julian's cozy, upscale apartment with a view of the city skyline. We had just finished a casual takeout dinner, lounging on the couch as a documentary about ocean life played softly in the background. Julian suddenly turned to me, his expression surprisingly serious. He took my hand, and my heart quickened. Delilah, he began, his voice steady but tinged with an emotion I couldn't quite place. I've been thinking a lot about us, about everything we've been through and what I want for our future together. I nodded, feeling my mouth go dry, waiting for him to continue. I love you, Delilah, he said, his words warm and sincere. I love everything about you, and I can't imagine my life without you. He paused, looking nervous, a vulnerability I hadn't expected, which made me feel a little braver. I want to be with you, always. Will you marry me? No grand gesture, no ring, just a simple, genuine question that was so unmistakably Julian. Yes, I answered, the word rushing out of me, almost a sigh of relief. Yes, I will. Julian's smile spread wide, and he pulled me into a tight hug. The rest of the evening was a blur of excitement and dreaming about our future together. It felt thrilling, a little overwhelming, but it was so undeniably right. The next challenge was telling my dad. I expected him to be happy, but his reaction was far more cautious than I hoped. Delilah, you know I want nothing but your happiness, he said, his voice heavy with concern. But are you sure about this? It's all happening so fast. I'm sure, Dad. He's a great guy, you'll see. I tried to sound more confident than I felt. He sighed, his eyes searching mine. All right, but promise me one thing. He paused. A prenuptial agreement, just to be safe. The word didn't intimidate me. It was practical, especially given our situations. Of course, Dad. We'll handle it. That's good, he replied, adding after a pause, but Delilah, I won't be at the wedding. I don't want to spoil your story of being a simple girl. Next, I met Julian's mother, whose reception was ice cold from the start. Over dinner at their family home, she looked at me with a chilling gaze. Julian, are you sure about this girl? She asked bluntly. She doesn't seem like she's a fit for our family. Julian tried to smooth things over, but his mother was adamant. A prenuptial agreement is non-negotiable, she said firmly. I nodded without hesitation, understanding that agreeing would ease some of the tension. Absolutely, I wouldn't have it any other way. Later, we met with a lawyer to finalize the agreement. Despite these early challenges, our wedding in the Maldives was breathtaking. Standing beside Julian with the ocean waves lapping at the shore and sand under our feet, I felt a rush of hope. It felt like it was just the two of us. our love, and a future we were ready to shape together. Settling into married life began beautifully. We moved into a spacious new house, meant to be the foundation of our dream life together. I threw myself back into work, determined to prove I was more than just the boss's wife. My role was challenging, but now, with new expectations, it felt even more significant. I wasn't just managing projects. I was part of decision making, and Julian seemed proud, at first. But as my projects succeeded, bringing in significant profits and bolstering the company's reputation, I sensed a shift in Julian. At first, it was a passing remark, a subtle comment. Then one evening, over dinner, he brought it up. "Delilah, you're doing great at work. Maybe too great," he said, not meeting my eyes. Confused, I looked at him. "What do you mean? Isn't that good for the company?" "It is," he admitted, pushing his food around. "But you know, the guys are starting to say it's becoming the Delilah show over there." I was taken aback. "Isn't that a bit unfair? I thought you'd be happy with our success." "I am," he replied, though he didn't sound it. "But it's just a lot. Everyone's talking about you, how you handle things, and it makes me wonder where I stand." That conversation marked a turning point. Julian's once supportive attitude began to feel clouded with jealousy and resentment. I couldn't understand it. Wasn't he the one who'd encouraged me to step up? The tension only grew when his mother stayed with us, bringing the traditional mindset I'd never had to contend with. She would casually remark about my work, suggesting that a wife's place was more at home. "You're always at the office, Delilah. When do you find time to care for your husband?" she would say. I tried to ignore it, hoping to keep the peace, but her words added to the distance between Julian and me. One evening, Julian came home, his expression set and unreadable. "Delilah," he said, his tone firm, "I think it's best if you leave the company. We need to focus on our family, and it seems like your role there is just causing too much tension." His words felt like a punch. "Leave the company? But why?" "I've worked so hard, Julian." "It's for the best," he replied coldly. "You can focus on the house now, maybe start that garden you've always talked about," he added dismissively, as if my career was a mere hobby. The next day, I found myself at a crossroads, uncertain if I should let go of everything I'd built, just to keep the peace in our fragile marriage. I discovered that Julian had fired our entire household staff, the housekeepers, cooks, and even the horticulturist. "It's all on you now," he said, almost as if he were punishing me. "You wanted to be more involved at home. Here's your chance." His words were harsh, and though I wasn't afraid of housework, the way he dumped this on me felt deeply unfair. This wasn't the loving, supportive man I had married. This was someone controlling and intolerant, a stranger. Adding to the tension, Julian's mother, who was staying with us, seemed to enjoy this turn of events. "It's good for a wife to focus on her home," she would say, smile barely concealing a smirk whenever Julian talked about my new role as a full-time housewife. Each day, I tried to adjust, but a sense of shame grew within me, shame that I hadn't seen this coming, and a quiet, painful shame that maybe my father had been right about Julian all along. When Julian suggested a trip to Monte Carlo to rekindle our strained relationship, I felt hesitant yet hopeful. But that hope was quickly dashed when his mother announced she would be coming along. "It's been ages since I traveled," she declared, her words leaving no room for disagreement. Julian welcomed her enthusiastically, without a single thought for my feelings. We rented a small house in Monte Carlo, charming but costly. What was meant to be a retreat quickly became a prison. From the moment we arrived, Julian and his mother treated the city as their playground, renting luxury cars, visiting exclusive boutiques, and dining at the finest restaurants. Meanwhile, I was left behind to manage the household, preparing meals and cleaning up after their daily excursions. They demanded home-cooked meals, turning me into a servant in our holiday home. As the days went by, Julian's mother's remarks became sharper, her barbs cloaked in smiles. "Really, Delilah, living off someone else's dime. Must be quite the life, huh?" she sneered, each word landing like a slap. Julian never defended me. Instead, he laughed along with her, and each chuckle felt like a betrayal, cracking the fragile remnants of our bond. One evening, as we passed a grand old hotel, Julian's mother looked at it with envy. "Imagine owning a place like that," she muttered, her voice dripping with longing. Later that night, over dinner, she took another jab at me, this time loudly instructing the waiter, "For Delilah, just the cheapest dish. No need to spoil her with luxuries she doesn't deserve." Julian laughed, agreeing, good call, Mom. Let's not go overboard. Their words stung. I stood up abruptly, the scrape of my chair loud against the marble floor. I won't stand for this anymore, I said, my voice trembling yet firm. I'm divorcing you, Julian. As I walked away, Julian and his mother followed, shouting insults that echoed through the night. Look at her, a beggar, unworthy of my son. His mother jeered. My heart pounded, but before I could escape, Julian caught up, grabbed my purse, and sneered, "This is my money, Delilah. Get out however you can." With a violent yank, he tore the purse from my shoulder, leaving me stunned and shaken. His mother's cruel laughter followed as she added, "Maybe you'll learn to beg here in Monte Carlo." Just then, as their laughter echoed down the street, fate intervened. We stood in front of the grand hotel Julian's mother had envied earlier. The gates opened, and a guard approached, his expression lighting up as he recognized me. "Miss Harris," he called, his tone respectful. "Your father mentioned you might stop by. Please, this way. The best room is always reserved for you." Julian and his mother froze, their smug expressions vanishing as they realized my connection to the hotel. His mother stammered, "Harris. As in billionaire Harris." Ignoring their shock, I walked toward the hotel with the guard, each step a quiet declaration of my independence. Julian's desperate voice called after me, "Please, Delilah." I didn't mean it. And his mother added with forced cheer, "Perhaps we could come in for a drink, at least?" Without a backward glance, I stepped inside, the heavy doors closing firmly behind me, symbolizing the end of my old life. Back in the U.S., I faced Julian in court. He tried to claim my bonuses from the multi-million-dollar deals I had closed at his company. But my attorney revealed every unpaid bonus, bringing to light Julian's betrayal in the business we'd built together. In the end, the court awarded me $7 million. Outside, Julian made one last desperate plea. "Delilah, everyone's laughing at me. Can we start over?" Once, those words might have stirred pity. Now, I saw clearly. "You only missed the money, Julian," I said, my voice firm. "Maybe next time, you'll think twice about whom you listen to." Without waiting for a response, I walked away, my heels clicking on the courthouse steps, each step a testament to my strength. Back home, my father was waiting. The silence between us felt heavy, filled with the words I'd kept to myself. Finally, I spoke. "Dad, I should have listened to you." He wrapped me in a warm embrace, his voice gentle. "You had to learn for yourself. Now you know, and that's what matters." Late into the night, we talked about mistakes, lessons, and new beginnings. Inspired, I began planning my next chapter. With the skills I'd gained and the resources I now had, I started my own business. The journey was challenging, but each step confirmed that I was on the right path. Sitting in my new office, looking over the bustling city, I realized how far I had come, from a trapped wife in a broken marriage to a confident businesswoman. Every hardship had made me stronger, and now, the future was mine to shape.